What's going on, everybody? Spaceballs here. Welcome back to the Awakening Chaos Era video. Alright, today we're going to talk about Melizza. We're going to do a showcase on her. I took the bullet for you guys. I maxed her out. I maxed out her glyphs, gear, and we're going to bring her to some content, test her out, and see if she's worth building. So let's jump right into this one, and let's talk about Melizza. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat is I didn't really want to 6-star her, but I figured we would start doing this series where I 6-star the champions that you guys don't want to. This way we can decide if they're worth using or not. And the thing is, already I feel like Melizza has a lot of competition in the fire category based on what she does. Now, she does hit like an absolute truck and she is really good for bosses. But when you compare her to the fire org, I'm not necessarily sure she would be the better choice. Now, I'm pretty sure she does more damage than the org does. But the thing is, he has a full remove all positive effects on his ultimates. She only removes one positive effect. She does put up the block positive effect. It doesn't seem to work on the Tulip boss, though. It doesn't block his shield or anything like that. And that's mainly what I want to use it for. I didn't realize that it wouldn't block his shield. So with that in mind, looking at the Org's ultimate, he's going to do damage based off the target's maxed health. So for the Tulip boss, for example, he's going to strip all the positive effects, and he's also going to do damage based off of the giant's maxed health. So the way it seems, he's probably going to be a better choice than Melizza in most cases, depending on what you're trying to do. But even for like the guild boss stuff, I think he's going to be better long term, because again, he has an essence crit rate and he's doing damage off of the target's max HP, which I feel like is going to do more overall damage than Melizza is going to do. Now, Melizza does have the block positive effects, which is a great thing. But my whole point in 6-starring her and building her and bringing her into all this content, which at the end of this video, I'm going to run her in a bunch of stuff and let you guys decide for yourselves. Is she going to be as good as the Fire Org? Because that's really her competition. Because why would you 6-star her when you could just 6-star the Fire Org and he's just going to do the job better at the end of the day? And the thing is, the Org is self-sufficient. This is not an Org showcase, but I just wanted to show you guys the Org as an example. But where it stands right now, I do think that Fire Org is the better option. I think Melizza in some cases will do more damage than the Fire Org, but I think overall the Fire Org is going to be a better option for you guys. And by no means am I saying that Melizza is bad or anything like that. She's definitely, I would say, A tier. I'm yet to bring her into Void Tower Hard and stuff like that yet, but I'm not really too sure how good she's going to do in that. I feel like her main uses are going to be in, you know, the Wood Ability Dungeon, Toll Up, and Arena content. And it's really hard to take advantage of this block positive effects, because in most cases she's going to one-shot the enemy anyways. So you're not really going to worry about this too much, because if she's hitting something with the damage that she's putting out, she's going to one-shot the enemy anyways, especially in Arena and stuff like that. When I was comparing her damage on the guild boss to Cyrus, which I'll show you guys again at the end of the video, I just feel like her damage wasn't where I thought it would be. So let's go over her kit and the gear that I have on her. And I have really, really good gear on her. I gave her a really fair shake here. It's not like I threw some crappy garbage gear on her and just said, oh, she sucks. This was my Zatlox gear, and I put it on Melizza, and I've been testing her out for about a week now, bringing her into all sorts of content, comparing her to other units, just to get a really good feel on what she can actually do. So on the ultimate, we have removes one positive effect, and that's one of the main problems right there. The Fire Org removes all positive effects, and then she deals 200% damage and applies no positive effects. Again, it's really hard to take advantage of this no positive effect debuff. In most runs and cases, I'm not using this at all. Like, this never really comes into play. But her overall damage on the skill is really good. She'll basically one-shot anything on the enemy team. That I have noticed. Her single target damage is amazing. And then moving into the A2, we have deals 100% damage to an enemy plus 50% bonus damage if the target is affected by no positive effects. So that's the one good thing about the no positive effect thing, that she will do an extra 50% bonus damage. So this is actually 200% damage. But the one thing to keep in mind in this is still single target. So no matter how you look at all of her skills, they're all single target skills. So she's only going to take one turn per round. So yes, she probably will most likely nuke something. But taking advantage of this extra damage on the positive effects is really hard, because if she uses her ultimate, she's going to be most likely one-shotting that enemy anyways. Therefore, this positive effect debuff won't be up to take advantage of the extra 50% damage on our A2. And then moving into the A1, we have deals 100% damage to an enemy. Damage increases by 30% if the target does not have any positive effects. This is actually really good. I noticed this was proccing a lot, because in a lot of cases, when you're clearing trash waves and stuff, the enemy won't have positive effects, so you get that extra 30% damage. The A1 is actually pretty good. It seems blah, but it actually does a lot of damage. Her whole kit, she does do really good single target damage, but that's all she does. So again, when you're comparing her to other fire units, why would you want to 6-star her when all you're going to get is that single target damage? Now, her bread and butter, and they did adjust this 2 patches ago, which made her viable. I don't think it changed too much, but definitely better to have this crit damage than crit rate. It made me actually want to get in there and test her out. Because at the end of the day, when you start farming stage 12 gear dungeons, party of 3, and you're getting that really good 6-star legendary gear, it's going to be really easy for you to get that 100% crit rate or 95% crit rate. And then having that extra 35% crit damage is just much more beneficial than having that extra 30% crit rate. So it definitely was a good buff and took her from B tier to A tier, in my opinion. So now let's check out our overall stats that we have on her. We have almost 4,500 attack, 12,000 health, 1,200 defense, 142 speed. Speed's a little bit low, but for the rest of the stats, not really much I could do about it with my current gear situation. We got 81.5% crit rates, 236% crit damage, no focus. I noticed that focus doesn't really matter. She basically lands that no positive effects every single time if the enemy stays alive. So I don't think you should worry about going for focus on your Melizza. Definitely just go for those raw DPS stats, because that's really what she's going to be there for, is that single target nuking potential. And then we have resistance, agility, and precision, which again don't really matter. We only care about the attack, crit rate, crit damage, and speed. That's what we're there for. And some health. We want her to be a little bit tanky, just in case we go into the following round. But the big problem I noticed with the Melizza overall is that she's single target damage. So if you only bring her as your damage dealer, most likely what's going to happen is she's going to get one shot on the following turn. And it's just really hard to take advantage of the block positive effects, because again, you have to bring her in a very specific team, especially when it comes to arena. Now, she's really, really good for boss content and the gear dungeons, the ability dungeons. She's, I feel like, S tier for that stuff. But when it comes to like end game arena content or just, you know, end game damage dealer, there's just so many better options out there. Due to the fact that she doesn't have AoE, and I said this before and I'll say it again, if her ultimate was an AoE, if this assault hit all enemies, maybe if they lowered the damage to 150% instead of 200%, but this was an AoE that did no positive effect debuff, that should be triple S tier, probably one of the best damage dealers in the game. But in her current state, just being a single target damage dealer, it's really hard to take advantage of her. Do I regret 6-starring her? Not necessarily, because I'm definitely going to get use out of her in guild boss and stuff like that. Over time, I most likely will regret 6-starring her once I start bringing up other fire units like Fire Org. Once I 6-star my Hector, then I'm probably going to kick myself in the butt. But overall, I don't regret it. I think she does do really good single target nuking damage. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run her in the guild boss, probably an ability dungeon, and some arena fights. I'll put them in ×4 speed for you guys so you can check them out like we always do. So I'm going to put her into some action, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk about it, and we'll wrap this video up. So enjoy, and I'll be right back. Oof, we're back. So overall, she definitely gets the job done. Her single target damage is great, but I intentionally put her next to Cyrus. And I know Cyrus is a legendary, but their damage is basically the same, and Melizza is in way better gear than my Cyrus is. And overall, Cyrus just has a way better kit, more survivability. You guys saw there, Cyrus is a really good fire option. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to have her. You can fuse her eventually. It's not something you're going to do in the beginning of the game, but I want to give you guys something to compare her damage to. And the same thing with the guild boss. I just feel like overall the red org would be a better option. Now, of course, if you don't have the red org and you're really lacking in fire units, Melizza would be a great choice for you. There's no denying her single target damage, but that's all she's there for. I know I said that a bunch of times already, but that's basically the moral of the story with Melizza is she's not a bad unit. She's definitely usable now, but her use is very, very niche and limited. And she's only really going to be good in ability dungeons and guild boss if you don't have a better fire option. So just to show you guys her current stats, we're only at 3,000 attack. We do have way better speed, but Cyrus has a really high base speed. And we only have 66.5% crit rate. And then if we go over and look at Melizza, we'll see that her stats are just way better. And the damage was basically on par. When Melizza used her ultimate, she definitely did more damage. But again, if I put this gear on Cyrus, she would just do a way better job than Melizza. And I feel the same thing if I put this same exact gear on the Fire Org, 6-starred him, his damage would either be the same in most cases and definitely more on bosses. So I guess the moral of the story and the best way to sum this up is if you have Fire Org, just 6-star him. If you don't, then you can go with Melizza, and she'll definitely be good in some niche situations, and it would probably be good to have her built up in 6-star depending on what you want to do. It's just really hard to take advantage of her block positive effects, and that's really like the main thing in her kit besides the fact that she gives herself the Vengeance buff, which gives her, you know, the extra speed and just extra damage. But at the end of the day, she's a damage dealer, and a single target one at that. So when you're comparing her to other stuff, it's just really hard to justify, you know, maxing out her glyphs and just investing in her in general. So I'm definitely glad that I took the bullet for you guys in 6-star, because a lot of people were asking me, you know, is she good? Is she worth it? She looks good now because she got the buff. But overall, I feel like she's in the same boat that she was in before, paired to other fire damage dealers. She's just not going to be there yet. So let's try her one more time before we close this video out, just to ensure the fact that she's not going to be good for these endgame dwarf tanky teams. And unfortunately, that's what PvP is right now. It's all tanky teams like this with Connors, Blackhorns, dwarves. I thought I clicked on the dwarf team. I guess I misclicked. But this is a good example of endgame PvP right now, except that Zatlox and William are usually Harkin and Rickard, which is even harder to deal with. So if Melizza can't deal with this, she's definitely not going to be able to deal with no dwarfs. And honestly, I don't think she can handle dwarfs. They're too tanky, and even if she gets out the block positive effects, Bran is going to clear it off anyways, or their cleanser is just going to clear off her debuff, because at the end of the day, it is a debuff, even though it is block positive effects. If Blackhorn's totem goes up, or Bran uses his ultimate, it is going to clear that debuff off, making her a single target damage dealer. And in late game PvP, you really don't want a single target damage dealer. This would be more of a realistic fight for her than the dwarfs. I think the dwarf, she's going to be completely useless. She's not ever going to have a shot. Let's see how much damage she can do to Zatlox. Because if she can one-shot a Zatlox, that would be really good. It looks like she's going to. That was actually pretty good damage. That was 16,000 damage. That really wasn't that bad. I believe it was 8k times 2, or 8,000 times 2. That's actually a lot more than I expected. So she might be okay for non-dwarf teams, but I can tell you right now, I've tested her on a ton of dwarf teams, Rickard and Harkin, and she does not work out. In the following turn, she just gets picked off. She just doesn't do enough damage to dwarfs. But once you start getting into that end game arena and everybody starts having really, really good gear, I feel like she's just not going to get the job done. Here she is, element disadvantage. She did decent damage considering, but I just feel like she's just not going to have a place in arena, unfortunately. Now, if you have her built because you built her for guild boss, if you don't have the fire org or something like that, then it would be okay, you know, to throw her in a team. But overall, I'm going to say that Melizza is a pass. Don't waste your resources on her. You're definitely going to have a better option somewhere along the way if you don't have one already. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as far as like raw damage goes for epic or fire epic skill, Borden is going to be a way better option. Fire org is going to be another option. Jacob, I think, is going to be better as well. As much as it hurts me to say that, I just feel like Melizza's kit is not good enough. Her being a single target damage dealer with the block positive effects seems really cool and all, But the problem is you'll get no use out of this block positive effects, and the only thing you're going to be using her for is a single target nuker. So with that being said, Melizza is decent, but I wouldn't recommend building her. So I took the bullet for you guys. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of Melizza? Did you build her yourself? Do you regret it? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Thank you guys so much for the support here on YouTube. We are so close to 5,000 subs. Once we reach it, we will start another sub celebration. If you want to follow me on Twitch and Discord, those are always linked down below. We do 2 monthly giveaways on Discord, random giveaways on Twitch. If you want to be a part of the random giveaway that we do here on YouTube, all you have to do is sub to the channel, like and comment on my past 10 videos, and I will automatically enter into the random giveaway. I truly do love each and every single one of you. I will see you in the next one. Spaceballs out. Peace.